I guess this is probably the wrong movies. Yeah. It's me, Jordan, and today I'm here to give you my first impressions of, you want to take a guess? Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Ah, fanfare, applause, blah. So the way that this is going to go is I'm going to have two parts to this. The first half of the video is going to be spoiler free. The second half is going to be completely spoiler filled. So if you have yet to see Rogue One, and probably many of you before this video uploads, go ahead and stop when I get to the little tag that says spoilers. And we'll kind of go from there, okay? Awesome. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. So this is the non-spoilers right now, so you're all fine to listen and hear me talk about Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, takes place roughly about 3 days before the events of Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. It is the story of the opening crawl, which is a brave group of rebel soldiers have stolen the plans to the Death Star, a weapon capable of destroying entire planets. The Star Wars story, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is the story of Jyn Erso, who is the daughter of the man who is basically the architect of the Death Star. Nothing spoiler there, that's in all the previews, everybody's seen that, so. Let's go ahead and jump into some things that I really liked, then we'll go into some things that I didn't really like, and then when we get more into the spoilers, I'll go more in depth with those things. I really, really liked the characters. Oh my god, how can I... We're in such a good place right now in modern storytelling where we are able to take characters that really nobody should give two craps about and make us like and care about and like connect emotionally with these people. Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones, my god is she fantastic. I've seen Felicity Jones in a lot of things, haven't necessarily liked her too much. I absolutely adored her in this movie. She is so just what she can do without saying a word with the power of her eyes and the power of her facial expressions. You feel everything that she's feeling, you know exactly where she's at in her place in life. And you really connect with the plight of her and the rest of the rebellion. There are a few characters in here that just kind of steal the show. K2SO, the droid, played by Alan Tudyk, however you say his name, he's on Firefly and all that stuff. Hilarious. You think he's gonna be just like a knockoff like C-3PO. No, this droid is funny, this droid is sarcastic, this droid knows how to kick somebody's ass. And I don't think we've ever really seen droids do that, minus battle droids in the prequels, but we don't talk about those. Let's see, Ben Mendelsohn's Director Krennic was really a different kind of villain than I anticipated him being. And the big thing about this movie, you know exactly where it's going. If you've seen Star Wars, if you know Star Wars, you know exactly where this is going, exactly what's going to happen. And they still managed to make the characters and the story itself feel like they're needed. Like, I needed to see this story in my life. A couple other things I love about it. Director Gareth Edwards knows how to compose a shot. He knows how to make things look big and scary and frightening. If you've seen his Godzilla, his American version of Godzilla, he knows exactly how to make you feel like you are 3 feet tall next to these 7,000 foot monsters. The depth of feel of the AT-ATs, of the Imperial Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, and even the Death Star itself, which does make an appearance. The whole movie's kind of about it. Just, we've seen the Death Star in, you know, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, a little bit Revenge of the Sith, and even with Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens, but never have they felt big. Like, they've never felt like, you know, super giant intimidating. In this movie, everything just feels like everything just feels overwhelming and monstrous. And that is exactly the kind of feel you need when you're talking about a movie about stealing the plans for this massive space station. A couple of the gripes that I have, unfortunately I do have a few, not many. I love this movie, and if I have any complaints, it's just because I love it so much, and I have to, you know, the things that jarred me were the things that jarred me. The story itself does not kick into full gear until about 2/3 of the way through the second act, and then the third act you're off and you're flying. The build-up is very, very slow, and I kind of liken it to the kind of feeling I got when I watched not only Iron Man 2, but Batman v Superman, is that they're trying to build up a team of people and explain everybody's backstories in a way that is convincing and believable, and it takes way too long to kind of get there, especially when it comes to how the story ends. I didn't necessarily care a whole lot. I didn't care for the score. In places that it was John Williams Star Wars, you got it. Michael Giacchino did the score for this film, and I love Michael Giacchino's music. His scores for Star Trek are absolutely amazing and incredible. I wasn't really feeling... There were some bits of music in the film that I felt like, yes, absolutely, this is Star Wars. We're in Star Wars. Listen to that music. But then there were points where it was just like, it doesn't really match with what I was expecting, and it didn't really mesh well with the scene I was watching. That being said, I still, it's not a horrible score. I love the score. I'm gonna buy the score. I buy the film scores for all the movies that I see. I'm just a big fan of the film music. There's so much to kind of jump into, so much to kind of bite your teeth into with this movie. If you haven't seen it, I urge you, I implore you to please go and see Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, especially before we get into the next little section of this video, which is going to be delving all into the spoilers of it. So, I'm just going to leave you, for any of you who want to quit the video now, thank you so much for watching. Like, click, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and go see Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. It's really, really good. See you guys. So if you haven't left yet, and you want to be surprised by the movie, don't watch the rest of this. If you don't care, then I don't necessarily agree with you, but okay, whatever. You want to hear it? I'll tell you. So spoilers start officially now, so this is your last chance. Click away, go do whatever you need to do, go see the movie, go watch episode 3, do whatever you need to do. You've been warned. So I really, 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 really cannot stress how absolutely perfect the opening of this film is. And only for the simple reason that you don't get an opening crawl, but it still starts with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like, those are the words, just like you'd see in any other Star Wars movie, to let you know, hey, we're still in a galaxy far, far away. This is still Star Wars, but this isn't the Star Wars that you're used to. This is something entirely different. And it doesn't give you like a big, brassy opening crawl or anything. It just immediately starts up with the film, and then you get a title, Rogue One, halfway through the beginning. But that's it. That was how ingenious this film started. And I immediately, the minute I saw A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, I was like, that's genius. That's absolutely genius. I knew they weren't going to do the opening crawl because it's not a saga, it's not an episodic film, but I'm so glad that they at least kept that little bit in there, because that right there tells you everything you need to know. That tells you right there that this is Star Wars, despite the Stormtroopers, the Death Star, talk of the Force, all that stuff. This is Star Wars. Just that is the first thing you see, and it's amazing. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the characters I didn't talk about in the non-spoiler section of the video. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the cameos, really, that you get in this film. You get a lot of characters from Episode 4 in particular that make a comeback thanks to the wonders of digital technology. Some of them it lands, some of them it doesn't. The big one that I want to talk about right now is Grand Moff Tarkin. Yes, Tarkin. Tarkin is in this movie, and it is amazing. The guy that they have playing him, his voice isn't exactly Peter Cushing's, and it doesn't necessarily match up the way you want it to, but the minute you see him pop on screen, it's just like, oh my god, Peter Cushing, back from the dead, I swear. They just digitally, whatever they do now with people's faces that can make somebody come back from the grave, they did it with Peter Cushing, and it was awesome. And he actually plays a fairly big part in the movie. I didn't think that he was going to be, I thought he was going to be kind of a one and done thing, but he's in like a bunch of the major scenes in this movie, which makes sense because when you get to the Death Star in A New Hope, he's the one running it, and you don't necessarily, when I saw the trailers, I was having a really hard time trying to grasp how Director Krennic was going to end up not in charge of the Death Star. I had a pretty good idea, but I didn't understand how they could kind of do that without having Tarkin in there somewhere. But he's there, and it's awesome, and it kind of gave me chills just to see him. There's a couple more, like episode 4-ish cameos. The dude with the face and the big guy that like are in the bar, the cantina with Luke Skywalker, and he's like, he doesn't like you. I don't like you either. That guy's in there. It was fun. It was funny. Sorry. Funny to see him. It was kind of just a welcome surprise. A couple of the rebel pilots from the Death Star Trench are in this at the very end of the movie at Scarif, which is where the Death Star plans are being held, that planet Scarif, which is like, it's cool, it's a beach planet, not like Kashyyyk in episode 3, or a forest planet, but it's kind of like just a big like Bahamas like looking beach planet, which we've never really seen in a Star Wars movie before, and I thought it was a pretty good location, especially for a climax. But we have those rebel pilots that, you know, all die in episode 4, but they're here and they're doing an assault and doing like what they do best. Princess Leia makes an appearance at the very end of this film, not Carrie Fisher, although I'm sure probably the voice was Carrie Fisher and they just kind of dubbed it a little bit, but I mean, the CG face looks like a young 19-year-old Carrie Fisher. That's how old she was when she did A New Hope. The one person that I know you're all dying to hear me talk about, and I'm going to talk about right now, Darth Vader. You can't have a Star Wars movie, especially a prequel, without Darth Vader in it, especially one about stealing the Death Star plans. It wasn't a surprise he was going to be in the film. We all knew he was going to be there. He's there. It is absolutely amazing. I've never been more terrified of Darth Vader than I was in this movie. The way they introduce him, his interaction with Director Krennic, and the final 5 minutes of this movie might as well just be a straight out horror film, because he's going around like Jason Voorhees, slicing people up with his lightsaber, force choking them, just going all kinds of mad, trying to get the Death Star plans, and it leads right into the opening of episode 4 where they're in the pursuit of Princess Leia's ship to get the plans from Princess Leia, R2, and C-3PO. And it's always just, it's a delight to hear James Earl Jones, regardless of who's in the costume. You're paying to hear that man's voice come out of Darth Vader, and it's so good just to have a prequel with Darth Vader in it where he is truly badass and frightening and everything that you thought Vader was in the original trilogy. It's just amazing. Let's talk a little bit about how this movie ends. I expected one or two of the main players to make it out alive in this movie. Nobody makes it out alive. Nobody. Everybody that you build up caring for, everything that you like, everything that they've done, everything that's kind of got you to rally behind them, to make you care about them, and then they all bite the dust. And I should have expected it. Like you don't ever hear about them in the original trilogy. There are no plans for a sequel to Rogue One. It's a standalone kind of thing, which is great. I didn't want a sequel to this movie. I really didn't want a sequel to this movie, because you know what the sequel to this movie is? Episode 4, A New Hope. But I expected maybe like Felicity Jones and I forget the pilot's name, that she kind of like, I don't know, she falls in love with them or whatever. I kind of expected them to make it through, and like maybe they'd have like another kind of adventure, like in between Empire and A New Hope, or in between Jedi and A New Hope. But no, they all just kind of bite the dust. So any of you thinking Felicity Jones and that dude are Rey's parents, you're wrong. Never, never in a million years. They're both dead. Super dead, like never coming back dead. Director Krennic dies as well. Like, I knew that he was probably going to bite the dust, but he completely does. K2, I think it really hit me when K2SO dies, like defending Jyn Erso and Captain Cassian, I think his name are. But like that actually, his death kind of hit me really hard. I was like, oh my god. But really, I could have went back and saw when Forrest Whitaker's Saw Gerrera, who I'll talk about in a second, died. Like, I should have just been like, huh, he's kind of just sitting there taking it. Not trying to, okay, I can, everybody's going to die in this movie, aren't they? And sure enough, everybody does. Donnie Yen dies, his friend that was like his protector, guardian dude dies. Everybody that you really care for in this movie dies. Even like the people that don't die in A New Hope. Like Bail Organa's back in this. Jimmy Smits plays Bail Organa again. He's in it actually quite a bit longer than I thought he would be. You know that dude's dead. Alderaan explodes. You know he's dead. So yeah, that was I didn't actually expect them to go that route and kill everybody, but they killed everybody. Nobody makes it out of this movie, unfortunately. And fortunately, I'm not saying I hate that. I actually really, really enjoy the fact that I watched a movie where I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew exactly what the ending was going to be. I knew exactly probably where it was going to go in the middle, and it still managed to defy my expectations, and it still managed to surprise me. Not many prequels, and this is including the prequel Star Wars films, 1, 2, and 3, can do that. It stuck to canon very religiously. The guys at Disney and Lucasfilm know exactly what they're doing now when they're getting all these prequel anthology stories kind of put together. It's really just, it's surprising, and it's a great change of pace. I like that we're able to introduce new characters for the long haul in terms of Force Awakens characters like Poe, Finn, and Rey. But we can also introduce new characters on the anthology side, the prequel side, and still care about them enough to know that what happens to them, you know, it still is a shock to us. So I really enjoyed the end of the movie. I enjoyed the movie for that, just being able to defy my expectations. Forrest Whitaker's character, Saw Gerrera, who's a character from the Clone Wars television series, which is the only reason he's there is to be like, hey, I was a part of this one thing that your kids probably watched, so let's go ahead and just throw him in here, make him more adult and more gritty, and we'll make Forrest Whitaker play him. And I mean, I like Forrest Whitaker, but his character, Saw Gerrera, didn't really do much for me. In the trailers made him look kind of to be more menacing, but he wasn't. He just kind of stood there, did nothing, and then just died. Just straight up decided, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. There's nothing else really to go into with this movie. I'm very curious to see how this movie is going to impact the Han Solo anthology film, which is already going to be a completely different beast than this movie is, because Han Solo, we know, is going to make it. Lando Calrissian, we know, is going to make it. Chewbacca, we know, is going to make it all through that movie and into the other episodic films. So you're not necessarily going to have the same, like, you're not really going to have the same expectations as you will with this film. That being said, you cannot get to the Han Solo film without this film being successful. And this film is successful on every level. They hit every mark beautifully. Gareth Edwards, they gave him the chance to go with this material and run with it, and he ran with it, and we got a nitty-gritty war film. We got a Star Wars film. It lived up to its title. It lived up to what it was trying to achieve. It lives up to the OT trilogy, man. Like, you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not see this film and then immediately watch episode 4 afterwards. It kind of puts a whole new depth of feel to those movies in the original trilogy. And in a way, it kind of gives credence to the prequel trilogy as well. Because it shows you that these prequels can be done, and they were done poorly, but they're still redeeming qualities. We would not have certain aspects of Vader in this film if it weren't for the prequels. We would not have really, we would not have this film if it weren't for the Star Wars prequels. If we did not have episodes 1, 2, and 3, we would not have Rogue One. And I honestly think Rogue One's defining thing is just to try to make the canon kind of sync back up better with where we see Luke, Han, Leia going forward in the trilogy, the OT trilogy in The Force Awakens, than where we left Obi-Wan and Anakin and Yoda and everybody in the prequel trilogy. But that's really all I've got for this movie, guys. In terms of ranking this film, I can only rank it with the other Star Wars films, and I'll go ahead and give you my list now. It goes at the top, Empire Strikes Back. You're never going to beat Empire. Empire is the perfect sequel. It is the perfect Star Wars film. Right below that, you've got A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and The Force Awakens, and Rogue One. All of those line up on the same mark. Actually, I'll probably put A New Hope above that, and then Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Rogue One in that bracket there. And then you've got Episode 3, then Episode 1, and Episode 2 is at the very bottom, because Episode 2 is just the worst. But that's what I got for you guys today. Please let me know if you've had a chance to see episode. If you had a chance to see Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, go ahead, let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Let me know if you had the same kind of gripes that I did. Let me know if you felt the same way about the characters that I did. Let me know if there's anything you want to hear me elaborate on in another video. This is just my first thoughts video. I plan on doing another one of these because I plan on going to see this movie at least 7 more times. I've already bought my tickets to see it tonight, whenever tonight is. It doesn't matter if I did this video yesterday and it's uploading today, because chances are I went and saw it again yesterday and I'm seeing it again tonight, whatever night you're watching the video. So that's how good it was. The level of hype for this movie was not the same as The Force Awakens, but it delivers so much. A closing thing for any of you parents that are thinking about taking your kids to see this movie: it's a Star Wars movie, but I don't think it's necessarily a kid-friendly Star Wars film, which is funny because it's a Disney-owned property, but it gets in there. It gets really gritty and it gets really dark really early in the film. So just that for you. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Give this video a like, share with your friends, and tell me what you're looking forward to coming in the future. We are the next however many years, we are so blessed with the movies that we're getting. When it comes to comic book movies, science fiction, all that stuff. We're getting Star Wars every year. We're getting a Batman movie. We're getting Justice League. We're getting Avengers. We're getting Spider-Man. We're getting everything that 15-year-old me wanted so desperately when I was 15, and now I'm 20, and it's like 5 years was, 5 years was a long time to wait, but it's finally here. So let me know what you're looking forward to in the next coming years, and I'll see you guys again real soon with a follow-up video to this. So thank you guys so much, and people are gonna kill me for saying this or for not saying this, but may the Force be with you.